No, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of find it crazy that when you go through some like turmoil with someone, how quickly they can like get over you, which is understandable, especially if you did something wrong or whatever, and if they give you multiple chances and stuff like that. But I just find it crazy how like niggas could go from like talking or whatever to then just blocking you or whatever without even letting you know or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Especially like if you're in a relationship with this person and stuff like that. And then I'm just basically making like this little video diary, this little video rant to just basically document for myself to like be more mindful of when you're in a relationship with someone and not just saying you'll do better or just saying you'll change or whatever, but also making sure that your actions, line up with that and making sure you're not devaluing the person or just making the person feel like as if you don't value them as much as you claim to. Because, I feel like we as people have this problem in which, we say things or whatever, but it's like we have our own specific way of how like we show value and stuff like that, and we don't be very attuned or keen to the person that we're with. You know what I'm saying? We just have our own version, and then if someone wants something else out of like a different version of showing the exact same thing, it's a little more difficult and stuff like that, which is understandable because I feel like most people assume that when you're in a relationship with someone, they automatically just know everything about you or whatever, and like how you specifically take love and all of that stuff. But yeah, I think it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Right now, yes, I am blocked or whatever, and that just lets me know that I should take time and to work on the things that obviously was messing with the person that I was dealing with, and making sure that when the time does come, you know what I'm saying? If by God or the universe or whatever, if they bless me with the same person again or whatever, that I'm better and doing way better and making sure that I'm more mindful of them and like how they accept things and do things, or if I get blessed with someone new or whatever, to make sure that I don't have old, mistakes, Because at the end of the day, yes, I did my mistakes and stuff like that, and it's, I gotta lay in my bed, and, I feel like a little kid, when a little kid does something bad and, they fear the consequences or they get the consequences, they're like shocked or whatever. I'm not trying to dodge accountability and stuff like that. It was my mistake or whatever. But niggas gotta be more mindful now. Taking the time to work on the things that was messing up the relationship you was with the person. Especially depending on your attachment style and stuff like that. If you have like an avoidant attachment style, work on your vulnerability and stuff like that. That's something I gotta work on. Allowing myself to be more present in a relationship, because I feel like a lot of us when we're in relationships and stuff like that, we just tend to just be there and claim that's like the loyalty or us being in a relationship versus actively planning dates or like planning things to do with the person. Because at the end of the day, after a while, if you're being with someone, they will turn a little bit into your friend. But even still, with your friend, you still plan to do things with them. You're not just chilling all the time, just there like what's up, not talking. You still gotta show that you're actively there for the person, which is something that I gotta get used to. Me personally, I'm a late bloomer. I've only been in two relationships, and it's been later in my teens. I haven't had like the fortunate or unfortunate success or whatever of people younger where they had not multiple, but had those little kindergarten relationships or like those younger relationships to where it's like kind of a little bit more easier from the basically be relationship veterans. I'm like a novice or a rookie or whatever, so it's like it's just little stuff like that to work on and stuff like that. I have no problems with the person or whatever, but now it's just obviously it's just taking the time to be better, you know, for that person. Because right now I'm blocked. Doesn't mean in the future you never know what could happen. And I just want to make sure I'm not that same person that I was when it happened. Sometimes you do need to give someone space. And instead of being prideful like most of us tend to be, and be like, oh, f that person, I didn't even like him anyway and stuff like brother, you was with this person for like a year or more or whatever. How all of a sudden you don't like the person? That's why I never really put my pride and ego in relationships and stuff like that. Like if you broke up, whatever, sure, it's gonna hurt me and stuff like that. It's gonna hurt the longer the block or the longer no contact, which is true. What I'm saying? If you definitely did have feelings for the person, it's gonna hurt. But to like try to switch and flip on the person like a Julius Caesar and be like, nah, I never was messing with that person. It's like, bro, you kind of look dumb. You know what I'm saying? Just say you're hurt. You know what I'm saying? Right now I'm not like crying or whatever, like shut down mode. But obviously as the longer it goes on, I'm gonna feel it and stuff like that. But right now I'm like somber. I'm chilling. It is a little different when you don't have that somewhat constant or that constant communication with that person. But nonetheless, I'm okay. Life is life. I'm just gonna take this time to be better for the person and for myself. Work on those specific things that I should work on. And that's pretty much all I have to say for today and stuff like that. You know, about to go fuck up my Chipotle, so you know, you guys could go and leave or whatever, and whatever, you know, platform you're on and stuff like that. Make sure to, you know, follow and whatever it is if you want to see more shit like that, more stuff like this. And I'll talk to y'all later.